Victory, glory, the thrill of breaking records. For centuries, athletes have pushed the boundaries of human performances, but in the relentless pursuit of glory, some have turned to controversial edge, performance-enhancing drugs.
Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Mark McGuire, David Ortiz, Alex Rodriguez, Sammy Sosa, the 2020 Russia Olympic team, Lance Armstrong. What do all of these athletes have in common?
Performance-enhancing drugs.
Performance-enhancing drugs have been a part of sports history for decades, from early use of stimulants to the highly sophisticated doping programs of today. These substances promise strength, speed, and endurance, but at what cost?
Doping should have no place in sports due to the harm it causes to athletes' bodies and the integrity of the sport we love.
These athletes have tarnished their image and, in the MLB's case, ruined the public view of their association or league, all because they wish to cheat their way to glory.
Drugs. I'm not for them, obviously. I mean, I shouldn't say obviously, everybody's opinion is different.
Yeah.
But mine is anything that is not legal should not be done, you know. I'm a big believer in do things the right way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're banned for a reason, you know what I mean? The short-term gain is nowhere near worth the long-term effects.
Yeah.
You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand. Why do you think athletes turn to performance-enhancing drugs?
I think again, right? They're living in the right now moment, and they're trying to find a competitive edge. And will do, you know, if you're turning to PEDs, right, then it's because you're willing to do anything to get that competitive edge. And again, right, cheat. You know, some people have the philosophy of if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But that's not a great philosophy to live by. You know?
Yeah. Should there be stricter punishments for someone caught using performance-enhancing drugs?
Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of a broad question in a sense, because with every, you know, the punishments for every sport is different, you know. But yes, I think a person shouldn't be allowed to perform in whatever sport it is or event that they're doing until their system is completely clear of the PEDs, and maybe even longer. There should definitely be consequences to those actions.
Yeah. How do performance-enhancing drugs impact young athletes who look up to professional athletes who use these drugs?
Well, I think what it does, right, is when you see somebody you look up to, idolize, doing something wrong, you tend to maybe normalize it, right, and say, oh, it's not that bad. If so-and-so is doing it, then it can't be that bad, right? I also know it's probably harder for young athletes to get their hands on PEDs as it is, you know, adult athletes. But really, to me, the psychological damage is far worse, you know, of making a kid think it's okay to do something that's not okay.
Performance-enhancing drugs may pose as an advantage and a harmless way to gain an edge, but it's quite the opposite. Performance-enhancing drugs threaten us with countless threats to our health, many of which are irreversible.
Steroid use could increase the risk of certain cardiovascular conditions. And I say could because there's still some uncertainty on the direct causality versus association with some of these potential risks. But there is some evidence that suggests it could increase the risk of coronary artery disease, possibly due to certain oral androgenic steroids having the ability to lower HDL cholesterol and raise LDL cholesterol. It can also result in erythrocytosis, which is an increase in the number of red blood cells. Sometimes that can be to a severe degree, and may even also be linked to increases in blood pressure. There can also be neuropsychiatric side effects, which include
Would you really
major
want
mood
to cause your
disorders
body
and aggressive
irreversible
behavior.
harm just to gain an edge when you could have just worked for it?
View performance-enhancing drugs as a step towards advancement in sports, and with more advanced drugs, they're safe to use.
This claim is false, because this would lead to whoever has access to the best drugs on the market is the most successful and totally ruins the art of hard work for all of those who wish to play and compete clean. And all those athletes that don't have access to the best can potentially be putting themselves in a dangerous spot.
On the biggest misconceptions athletes have about PEDs.
I think that a misconception is probably that there's no long-term side effects, or that it won't be as detrimental to their health or their body as maybe they think, and a lot of the times, with those things, the repercussions don't come right now. They happen later on in life. So I guess, if I was a kid who saw somebody doing PEDs, well, I might not see the effects of that, until I'm an adult, if that makes sense. So I think it's more so, or maybe people know and they just don't care about the repercussions because the repercussions don't happen immediately.
Yeah. What advice would you give to young athletes who feel tempted to use performance-enhancing drugs?
The advice I'd give them is there are so many different ways to seek a competitive edge that doesn't require you to go down an illegal path. If you're feeling pressure of being tempted to do something like that, it's always good to have somebody in your corner that you can confide in and speak to, right? My hope is for every young athlete, they have an adult that they can confide in and talk about those kind of things. My biggest push to athletes is there's far more better ways that you can get the same gains, right? And healthier ways you can get the same gains.
Instead of using it.
Question remains, can we ever truly eliminate performance-enhancing drugs from sports, or will the pursuit of human limits always come with a hidden price?
True greatness is built on hard work, dedication, and integrity. In the end, the real champions are those who play fair, win clean, and inspire the next generation the right way.